for the RAYNET UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communication. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions, information. Additional information and announcements are available on the RAYNET UK website, which can be found at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls will be made to the net control station unless you're instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your name slowly and phonetically. Please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name. And if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After a few check-ins, net control will pause and review the list. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again, and there will be calls for stations who are strays out of the normal sequence, but we will be calling people in, as usual, in call sign number order. So if we could start with any stations with figure 8 in their call sign, please call now. This is G4 NRC. Okay, second call, any stations figure 8, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so now it's down to stations figure 7 in their call sign, please. G4 NRC, over.
Golf 7, November, Echo Hotel, Graham.
Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, all.
For NRC has got Graham G7 NEH and Dave Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Any other 7s, please? G4 NRC, over. Nope, so we'll go for 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. Trying again for stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. Nothing heard. Stations with figure 4 in their call sign, please call in now. This is G4 NRC, over. Second call for stations with figure 4, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, let's go then to stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead. This is G4 NRC, over.
G3VH, Chris in Winchester, good afternoon.
G3VH, good afternoon, Chris. Glad you found us. Any other stations figure 3, please, and the call sign, go ahead now. G4 NRC, over. Nope. Then we'll go stations figure 2 in their call sign. That's 2s, intermediate 2s primarily, but stations with figure 2 in their call sign go now. G4 NRC, over.
2 Echo Zero, Charlie Mike Sierra, Colin.
G4NRC's got Colin, 2 Echo Zero, Charlie Mike Sierra. Good afternoon to you. Any other twos, please? G4NRC, over. Anything heard? So then at stations with figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over.
Golf Mike 1, X-ray Echo Alpha, Peter, over.
G4NRC, it's got Peter, Golf Mike 1, X-ray Echo Alpha. Good to hear you. Any other ones, please? G4NRC, over. Nothing heard. So G4NRC is going to go for Mike Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier. That's Mike Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier. Please call now. G4NRC, over.
Mike Zero Whiskey X-ray Golf, Shirley in Cornwall, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike Zero India Tango Mike, Andy with Shirley. Good afternoon all, good afternoon Greg, in and out. Thank you.
G4NRC, good afternoon to Shirley and Andy, Mike Zero Whiskey X-ray Golf and Mike Zero India Tango Mike respectively, and both in and out. Any other Mike Zero stations, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so now we'll go for the Golf Zero stations, please, of any regional secondary identifier. This is G4NRC, over.
Golf Zero, Charlie Foxtrot Bravo, Richard East Suffolk, in and out.
G4NRC, good afternoon, Richard. Golf Zero, Charlie Foxtrot Bravo, copy to you in and out. Any other Golf Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. NRC, nothing heard. So any UK stations who have missed their turn for calling in, so any UK stations who missed their turn for calling in and wish to join the net, please call now. G4NRC, over. NRC, second call. Any UK stations who missed their turn to join in the net, who maybe blipped in before, and wish to join, please call now. G4NRC, over. Nope, G4NRC, nothing heard. So let's go for international liaison stations. Any international liaison stations? That's Nord-Samband in Norway, Aran in Ireland, Aries OM for Slovakia. Any international stations call now. G4NRC, over.
Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India. Good afternoon, the name is Peter. Over.
G4NRC returning. Good afternoon, Peter. Good to hear you. Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India. Okay, right. Well done, everybody. You've passed the test. This is G4NRC. We'll do things in the right kind of order. First of all, just to point out to everybody, the net is being live streamed as usual by Graham, G7 and EH to YouTube as an experiment today. Live stream and recording is available by searching G7 NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on youtube.com. Now, the net is only on Brandmeister and Pheonix 23531, as the RAYNET-UK server has suffered a file system failure. Guy is working to fix it, but rebuilding a file system after a crash can take some time. So, until further notice, fall back onto Brandmeister 23531 until you're advised that the system is back to normal. As always, we've now discovered what the low temperature limit is for the server. So, guys try to figure out first fixing it and then what the original cause is going to be. Just to highlight that it's a shorter net again this week, as I need to be clear by 16:40, so I can be somewhere else, watch a basketball game, but maybe the reduced number of people on net might assist that. In terms of general news, well, we've had a sustained period of cold weather this week, but so far gas and electricity supplies are responding to the increased demand, which is still within predictions for this time of year. Looking ahead at those predictions, after this coming week, the demand is expected to reduce as people start taking extended Christmas holidays. So hopefully the energy pinch will remain pushed out a few weeks into the future. The news reports this afternoon, though, show many motorway closures in the Midlands due to crashes caused by snow. So one question, is anyone currently affected by the bad weather? Yesterday was the final IARU International exercise of the year, which was very useful, as by having more frequent events, we're getting more used to each other's styles of operation. And it made me think that, wondering how many people have this as their most frequent net. I mean, my own West Cheshire group just meets twice a month, but does your group have an on-air net fairly frequently, so we get used to how we work with each other? So that might be enough to start talking points with for a round or two. So I'll go to the top of the list, and Graham, G7NEH, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G7. Sure, I had it the last time. Yeah, not much to report from this end. Last week's net had a total of 29 views and 4 likes. So not doing too bad at all. No comments have been left. So there we go. So with that, back to you, Greg. G4NRC, G7NEH.
NEH, G4NRC returning. I recalled you using my own call sign, which was a mistake. Okay, 29 views is good. I'm glad the YouTube video is going to go out today, so people are aware that the RAYNET-UK server is off. So if anybody did try chipping in via the RAYNET-UK server and failed, they would at least know why from this. So it's a defense in depth measure. Okay, thanks, Graham. I've got another question for you, but I can't remember when I'm going to do it. So we'll go to Dave while I'm thinking. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all is well with everyone on this cold weather and you're all staying warm. I might even consider putting the heating on later on, but we've managed to avoid that today so far. Not a great deal to add from this end. It has been cold. We have had a flurry of snow. It's also seemed cleared up now. The roads are fairly clear where we are at the moment, and last full week at work this next week. So hopefully we're winding down slowly. Back to you, Greg. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G for an RC returning. Okay, yes, it kind of struck me when I was looking at the forecast energy data that the peak seemed to drop off earlier than planned, and it does seem to be the forecast that people will take the week before Christmas off. I unfortunately don't have that joy. It looks like I'm working right up to the very end and starting the first day of the new year as well. So I'm afraid I'll be contributing to the industrial and energy demand right up to the last bit. But enjoy, Dave. The shame is you may or may not be able to play with any Christmas presents before the day by having that week off early. Okay, next to Chris, Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G3VH, okay, yeah. Great. Good afternoon to everybody. Really a quick one, really, for me. I was digging around my files on the PC doing a clean-up and found an article I'd written a long time ago and never finished properly, related to the Comet SB15 antenna, mobile antenna, which I found when I first got it was not particularly well matched on any of the UK or European IRU FM and repeater frequencies. Appeared to be optimized for the American market, so I actually went and had to play with it and started to write up the mod to the bottom element. And such, as I finished, I wonder if it would be any useful as a technical one to put in the archives, just in case anybody has come across the problem and been unhappy with it. If they're using them, as I say, there were one or two in the Northwest Ants group, which are all been modified and performing well. G4 NRC, G3 VEH.
Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, G4 and RC. Oh, that's very interesting. I was kind of aware or suspected that antennas would be, VHF, UHF antennas would be more focused on the American market, given their wider band and so on. What just crossed my mind as you were talking, Chris, was that despite lots of people now having antenna analyzers, which are a lot cheaper than they used to be, I bet nobody actually checks their antennas to see how far off they are on the card. It's just plug and pray that everything will work. Okay, I'll come back to you on that one. So people are messaging me. Next to Colin, 2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, from 2E0 CMS. Yeah, afternoon all. Just a couple of things that's different this end. We had an AGM last week, and I am now the controller for the Midway Group, following the retirement of Ken Dixon M0XGB. So that's all good. So just getting into that. I have done it before. I think I was controller back in 2015, 2016, something like that. But yeah, it's good to be back in holding the reins. The other thing is that I've been tinkering about with the voice over the internet box again. I've also added a little Wi-Fi bridge into it now, so that can actually work completely unlinked from anything else now. So that can work off the Starlink Wi-Fi. And I must admit the EPOs that we've showed the system so far are absolutely over the moon. Apart from that, the weather, we've currently got a weather warning from now till 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for snow and ice. I'm hoping I haven't got to scrape snow off the car when I go to work at 5:30 tomorrow morning. But apart from that, I haven't got anything else to add. Back to you, Greg, from 2E0 CMS.
2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra, G4 and RC returning. Okay, Colin, hopefully you've received the talk-through permit now after you requested the talk-through one. If you want the business one, please just hit that button for that and I'll give it a push. I am hoping to, but very much doubt I'll be able to, have some time to play here over Christmas with Arden nodes and VoIP and other things, and try and get my own sort of data incubator going a bit better. Primary challenge has generally been how to get the software to play nicely. The RF is easy, we all know how to do RF. So it's how to get something useful running over it without breaking things that's important. But congratulations on the controller appointment, and as I say, if you need your business radio permit, just give me just hit the button. That will allow it to be processed fairly quickly. Right, next to the person who normally complains about the snow, and I'm sure today will be no different. Peter, Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, G for an RC, over.
GM1XA. How did you know that, Greg? Snow's not too bad. The horrible, wet, viciously cold sleet, though, has made my day a misery yesterday. I got caught out in it a few times. Even the short journey from a building to the car got you thoroughly soaked. Roads are not fun at all. I was out in a few jobs last night, and it was interesting, shall we say. Today has been much better. It's still cold, but it's been dry, so everything's still icy. The roads, the untreated roads, are frozen ruts. But apart from that, all is well with the world. I should have said in the login, I am actually on call just now, so if I don't come back any time, you'll know why. But finding some wood to touch has been fairly peaceful today. Over.
Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, G for an RC, returning. Okay, yes, I'm not sure whether our roads have been treated or not. But temperatures here through my mornings have generally been -5. Getting a little bit colder as I head out into the country before coming back onto more like city roads. So it's been more of a challenge for when will the car thoroughly de-ice everything, and will it be before the end of the journey? You are actively on call, given your other role, but for anybody else listening, since I know we have at least a couple of listeners, we will always have to bear in mind if there is a shout, then drive carefully. The roads will not be on your side. You have just reminded me of what I meant to slide into the earlier comment, and that was we've got, as far as I know, no Jersey RAYNET involvement, but what did also make the news as we've gone from severe weather mostly heading the news was the explosion yesterday in Jersey, which at last count I think was 3 sadly deceased, but noting that they've now stopped rescue searches after this time. So yeah, normal disasters will pop up at the same time as severe weather, etc. And I don't think I mentioned it last week, unless this has just happened, but we also have the increasing story in America of people taking rifles and shooting at main grid substations to put towns off power, which is not a spectacularly good move. So there's plenty going on out there to spoil people's days. However, we will focus back on the positive and yesterday's international exercise, which did help, say, people start working together. The exercise yesterday was SSB and CW. We have done data in the past. We've never done one on DMR, though, which is why I'm pleased to see Peter here. Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India, G for an RC, over. Oscar Mike 4 Alpha Echo India G4 and RC returning. Okay, no, I tried to stay away from calling it a failure yesterday. We cannot organise emergencies to work around Italian contests, and if I'd seen an Italian contest rather than the other contest on that day, I might have changed the date. But what I'd hoped was we could make a QSO on CW and work in between the gaps of the stations. So on 40 metres, I did just about do that with Oscar Mike 1 Hotel India, that we squeezed a CW QSO in between the sideband, and data would have worked as well. 17 metres as a band, yes, propagation was there, so you heard me working at that point, but then it just switched off, which is why, to try and bring it into the DMR space today, we would normally be doing this across Brandmeister and the RAYNET-UK server, and I think while I'm sad that the RAYNET-UK server has gone down, that our numbers have only dropped by 50%, means that at least we have half the operators on the net who recognise and realise that if the RAYNET server is down, then come back to Brandmeister, try a different DMR network to make things work. So, Peter, I prefer learning experience rather than failure, which is unusual for me to get corporate like that and use business words. But I still think we actually made contacts yesterday. We passed formal messages, and it was good that so many people were keen and involved. Also learned a lot about QRM in Serbia. They found a location where 17 metres was absolutely destroyed by LED lighting. So still learning. Okay, any other stations wanting to join the RAYNET UK net on 23531? Please call now. This is G4 and RC, over.
J8EPM, Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, Stephen Josie.
Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Steve. Would you like to take a turn now? And then I'll go very quickly through everybody for a second turn for any final comments, then I can close the net on time. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, this is GJ8EPM. Thank you so much, Greg. That was a difficult week in Jersey. I returned back from California. I think I remember telling you all I was going to be in California for a while, to a week where 3 people went down with a fishing vessel, and we had a major explosion, a gas explosion, which is known to have killed 3 people, and there's still 12 people missing. So we've been very busy on that front in Jersey in the last week, and it's been a sad and difficult week for people. The weather here is relatively good. It's been about 5-6 degrees today. It's clear and sunny now, and I'm going to try and join you ongoing week by week now. I apologize for being late, but as I said, I was located in W6 country and not really appropriate for me to be saying anything. So I'll go back to you. Thank you so much. This is GJ8EPM.
Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4 and RC. Yes, and my apologies, I'd not forgotten the fishing vessel. I had heard that one earlier in the week, but the gas explosion was the one that took me more by surprise for Jersey. But look forward to having you back on the net more often. Now you're back from the USA, and it'd be nice to have the extremes of the Kingdom incorporated, going from Aberdeen down to Jersey. Okay, so apologies that my schedule means I do need to be gone in about 10 minutes, so I'll go around for any final comments and thoughts, and then we'll stop distracting Guy with background noise while he tries to fix the server. G7NEH, G4 and RC, over.
RC, G7NEH, yeah, okay, Greg, no problem. Right, today's views on the stream are probably up on normal. Second viewing at the moment, total of 8 views and 3 likes. Just one comment, Oscar Mike 4 station didn't come through at all on this end. I didn't get any of his over, so that wouldn't have gone on the stream. I don't know why, and I don't know how he's transmitting, whether he's using Brandmeister or not. But nothing came through at this end. So, yep, not a lot else to add. It's freezing already here. I've just been outside, so the pavements are going to be slippy in the morning, no doubt. So with that, back to you, G4NRC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4NRC returning. Oh great, maybe I'll have to de-ice the car before I go out in 10 minutes. I'm not sure why you couldn't hear Peter, Oscar Mike 4 Alpha Echo India. His audio was copied here, and we are all on Brandmeister today, from what I can see. So, not quite sure why that didn't come through to you, Graham, but we'll have one more quick over from Peter and see if it resolves itself on the second time round. Okay, next to Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Yes, I think you may have to defrost the car, Greg, so I'll have a bit of time for that. So I'll cut this short, and we'll hopefully speak to you next weekend in the net. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
To Oscar, G4NRC returning. Okay, Dave, thank you. I think I might have to resort to chemical warfare and deploy the de-icing spray rather than scraping it. I usually save it as a last resort. Chris, Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, that article on tuning the Comet collinears does interest me because you've talked about something that I don't think gets mentioned very often, and that is how to tune a collinear. Because as you think correctly said, you tune the lower element first and then you sort the top end out. So very interested in that if it just tells people how to amend their antenna to bring it more efficient in band in the UK band, but also that they do the right thing and don't make it into scrap metal rather than an antenna. G3 VEH, G4NRC, over.
From V3VH. Okay, Greg. Yeah, well, it's an interesting exercise because I found, first of all, to check the phasing on 77s. The 77s were what I was trying to optimise because they were so poor. And it was a case of finding the nodes and anti-nodes and moving them correctly by changing the length of the bottom element and getting the first voltage null, as a current peak, in the middle of the lower loading coil, a phase shift coil. Because once I got the phasing correct in the two lower elements, which are the ones that primarily operate on 77s, the top element does very little because it doesn't get virtually no energy on 77s at all. Having corrected the phasing of the bottom two elements, of course the match came right as well, which was what I was aiming at. It also corrected the 2 meter and 6 meter operating frequencies as well for the IARU Region 1 allocations. So it was a threefold effect, in fact, having corrected the first one, which was the annoying one. So I'll finish it off and then bung it across and see what you make of it. But it could be quite a few people who've got SP15s which they use, but compromised performance, which is not always brilliant. I like it to be right. So you should find it interesting. From G3VH.
3VH, we'll certainly look forward to it, Chris, and thanks for that. Okay, back down to the south. Colin, 2 Echo Zero Charlie Mike Sierra for any final over?
30 CMS. Yeah, just briefly, I'll do the business radio thing when I've got a full inventory of our latest group of radios, because the stuff on the website is probably about 9 years old. apart from that, I haven't got anything else to add. So hopefully we'll catch up with you next week. From 20 CMS.
CMS, G4NRC returning. Okay, yes, so you've looked at the data. It was 2013, it got updated, so glad you've noticed that. Okay, Colin, no problem. Nice to know you're sorting it. Have a good week, and talk to you next week. Next, it's Peter, Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, G4NRC, over.
GM1XCA. I'm still here. Yes, I'll not keep you, Greg. Hopefully I'll catch you next week. 73 to everybody. Over.
And we'll see what we do next year for those exercises for IARU. Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India, G4NRC, over.
Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India. I missed a bit of your last transmission, Greg. To answer, I think it was G7NEH, Graham. I'm connected through DMR, and I'm using a local hotspot based on Raspberry Pi. Actually, it's an all-star link system with DV switch. Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India. Back to Greg.
Oscar Mike 4, Alpha Echo India, G4NRC returning. Okay, Peter, copied you using a local hotspot with DV switch back end. Yeah, it's just interesting because Graham should be picking up the same Brandmeister stream I am, so he should have got the audio last time, but obviously didn't. Hopefully he got something then. Otherwise, we'll be trying to repeat what you've got and find out why the audio is not getting through, because what you have got set up is possibly something somebody in the UK is going to try and use as well. Thank you for joining us today. Hopefully hear you soon. Final Steve, sorry, comes round very rapidly to you. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4NRC, over. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4NRC. You still with me, Steve, over?
G0DUB, M0JSA.
M0JSA, stand by. Golf Juliet 8, Echo Papa Mike, G4NRC, over.
GJ DPM, I'm just signing off now. Bye.
Okay, G4NRC. Returning to GJ8, Echo Papa Mike. Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks for coming on. Okay, JSA, you've got a very quick final before I close the net. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4NRC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Sorry to butt in late. I didn't know the net was on because there was no activity anywhere. I guess that the RAYNET server was down. Is that correct, over?
Zero JSA, G4NRC, yes. And the net has run today on 23531 as the fallback, with 11 of us taking part, so only a few down on the normal attendance. Alan, over.
Yes, I hadn't where that was running. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the Pheonix network at the moment is completely empty apart from you and me, and anyone else who's listening. It's very quiet, so I didn't expect anything to be happening. But anyway, never mind. Weather here in East Anglia is very good. No sign of snow yet, but it's due on its way. So everything is fine. You and the others who have been on the net today. G0DUB, M0JSA 73.
M0JSA, G4NRC returning. Okay, Alan, you just had one drop out there of about 30% packet loss, and then you came back, but thanks for checking in. I did see you blip in earlier, which was why I lingered over the Mike 0, any regional secondary identifier calls, but you didn't chip in at that point. To deal with another one who's blipped once and been seen, Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Lima Alpha 6 India Mike. Very good afternoon, Greg. Keep it short, you've probably seen my email. If not, there is an email for you. Talk to you later, Greg. Have a nice afternoon. G4NRC, Lima Alpha 6 India Mike.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, G4NRC. I saw the headline of the email, Hans, but haven't read it. I had seen you only try and attempt to access once into the net, and it was a half-second burst and nothing further came through. So, don't know what quite was going on there. That's why I've just made the explicit point to prove it is working now. Okay, right, I'm only 4 minutes late so far, so apologies for those, but I do have to be somewhere else soon. So I'll thank all stations for taking time out of the schedules to participate in the net today. Slightly disrupted with the RAYNET-UK server being down, but we will announce when it is back up and functional again. Until next week, be careful, have a good week, and I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net now and return 23531 to an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is G4NRC now closing.